So the question is, how do you truly know if somebody actually likes you, really you, and isn't just after you for something else? And specifically, if I'm right, when it comes to the service industry, people that maybe work as dancers in nightclubs, or maybe that they work as shop girls and they're trying to sell you things, how do you know they like the real you and not just the fact you're giving them money? Do you want to give me an example of that? Have you got like a specific situation?
Well, I know this girl has a boyfriend, but that doesn't mean we can't be friends. But there's like a restaurant I usually stop by after work, have a few drinks, have some food. And like, I'd like to get to know her, but I'm like, is she into me? Does she think I'm cool and legit? Which like, I already know the answer to that, but like.
Because you are cool and legit.
Yeah, but like, does she see that side, or is she just playing like being nice because I tip well?
Awesome, I love that. You are cool and legit. One of the coolest things about relationships is you can never tell, even when you're in a relationship, why somebody really likes you. There could be all sorts of reasons. People are, by their nature, we learn to be deceitful when we're like 6 months old. So you're dealing with decades of experience at hiding true feelings. But when it comes to people in the service industry, it can actually be really simple to work out whether they're just after you for money or because they're doing their job or not. And that's whether they'll meet you outside of work. You'll find that service industry people, if they're at work, have to be nice to you. Outside of work, totally don't have to be. And they don't have to meet you outside of work. So the guideline is always, will they be willing to meet you outside? But what you don't want to do is creep them out or do anything weird and keep asking them, hey, let's hang out. When are we going to hang out? That's just going to ruin your favorite restaurant or your favorite place to hang out. So the easy way to do it is to ask yourself, do you truly have 3 things in common with this person? And by truly, I mean activities that you like doing that they like doing. Do you have a real connection beyond just we like food or we like the same kind of movies? Because that's not a real connection. A real connection would be something like we both truly enjoy this one charity and want to work towards helping this charity. Or we both truly like going skydiving, right? When you've got a real deep hobby that if you guys actually hung out outside of work, you would do it, then it becomes the best reason to justify and to meet up with somebody outside of work. But the goal to doing it isn't to date them. It's to get to know them. Because what happens is you're only really getting to know their work persona. You're only really getting to know the waitress persona. This isn't the real them. And you won't meet the real them until you get outside of work. So it's kind of like a 2-step approach. The first is, while I'm talking to them at their place of work, can we find real things in common beyond just, yeah, the steak is nice and we both like that steak, right? Yeah. Can we meet the real person, have a real connection? If there is, can we meet up outside of work because of that real thing? Providing criteria A is satisfied, and me and her have 2 or 3 things in common, and we end up meeting up outside of work to do that joint venture, I then don't consider that a date. I consider that the meeting. And I consider that as, okay, now we're getting to meet each other for the first time. Now I'm going to see if anything further than that happens. And so then I'll enjoy that interaction. We'll be having fun doing the cool activity. And then I might start throwing out, what I call statements of intent. Like, hey, you know what? I really like you. I'm really enjoying this. And see how they respond. If you say to someone, I really like you, and they go, oh, thanks, that's usually a really bad sign, right? What we want to see is reciprocation. We want to see if I say I like them, that they say, thanks, I like you too. And then my progression from that will come much later, but at the end of the night, I might say, hey, you know what? I was going to go back to my place for some drinks. Would you be interested in coming? And so again, we're just putting it out there, like, is this something you want to do? And with people that work in the service industry, I'm always a lot more careful because I don't want to ruin my favorite restaurant. I want to invite them to come back to my place for drinks so that I can make it very clear that what we're coming back for, I'm not like, oh, let's watch that movie. It's like, drinks. Like I'm using what I would call your standard classic, hey, this is something I'd like to do. And seeing if they'll go for it. Or, hey, I'd like to do this again. Is this something you're interested in? And I would take that approach, so I wouldn't count that first date as a date. It would just be friends hanging out. And then that gives them a chance to say, you know what, I'm not really down for that. And then I can be like, no problem. and then I'll instantly back off. But this is cool because now what I've done is I've gained a cool friend that works at the bar, right? Or works at my favorite restaurant. And then we'll still do fun stuff. I won't make him feel awkward. And I've got a cool friend. And sometimes that turns into discounts in the restaurant. It turns into all these other cool things. But more importantly, it stops you guessing whether there's anything going on. And it can take you into phase 2, which is most of these people know other people that might be interested in you. And then you can say to them, hey, do you ever meet anyone here that you think might be a right fit? I'm looking to go on a date. And I think one of the biggest mistakes that guys make is they'll try and date a friend. They'll try and force that friend to go out on dates with them, rather than trying to just treat the friend as a friend and go on dates with other people. And that's really one of the most powerful lessons I could give you. One of the ways that I do this, by the way, is I will have set date nights. So what I mean by that is I'll be like, okay, Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday are days I go on dates with people. So what that means is if I've made friends with a girl who's a service industry girl that works in as a waitress or something, I'll say to her, hey, do you want to go out on Tuesday night and we'll go and do this cool activity? So I'll take this friend out on the Tuesday night, which is my date night. And we'll go and we'll hang out and we'll do a thing and I'll try and make it a date. And if it fails, no problem, then she's a friend. She never gets to go out on Tuesday, Thursday, or Saturday ever again. Because they're date nights, and they're only dates that I reserve to go on dates with people. What's cool about this is I can still hang out with her Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday. So I've still got plenty of time to be friends, but in my head, I know the difference between my friends and the people that I date. And then if she ever says to me, hey, there's this really cool show on Thursday night, do you want to go and see it? I'm going to say,
No.
right, because I don't do that.
Yeah.
But that means I've got set date nights that I can go on dates with people. So I can say to her, hey, do you know anyone that blah, 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 that wants to go out on Thursday night? And what's cool about this is you can tell them they're my date nights. I don't go out on Thursday night with anyone that I'm not trying to date. And that will often allow them to, if they change their mind and they do want to date you, they'll say to you, well, I want to go out with you on a date night. And you go, whoa, whoa, whoa. If you want to go out on a date night, it's a date. We've got to be clear about that. And they'll be like, yeah, sure, it's a date. And they, all right, cool. And then they can come out. So once again, we're leaving it open. And what we're really doing here is we're creating boundaries. We're creating clear boundaries where we're not ruining our relationship with somebody as a friend, but giving it every opportunity to blossom into something that's dating. So the real question is, how can you tell whether someone in the service industry is interested in you? It's really simple. You got to get them to meet you outside, become a friend, and then you can push for the date and see what happens.
Cool.
Make sense?
Yeah, that is really easy.
Sweet.